Been a long time coming, but it looks like the Oilers finally starting to get some stability in net this season. Stuart Skinner doing his thing game in, game out, as he has from about game 5 of the NHL regular season. But now, over the past 5 starts, 5 games, whatever you want to say for Jack Campbell, things shaping up and we're liking it, and the results are coming for the Edmonton Oilers. Friends, this is Dolynny TV. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're tuning in from. My pleasure to have you along as I just pretty much woke up. I've got the tea going, and we're going to be ready for a great day of Edmonton Oilers hockey here on Hockey Night in Canada as they face the Vegas Golden Knights. I know there's much to be made yet today of who will start against the Vegas Golden Knights. I floated the idea of give the boys something extra to play with by starting Calvin Pickard. The obvious choice, though, is the aforementioned Jack Campbell. Before we get to that, friends, let's make sure to get the housekeeping notes out of the way. If you're new to the channel, I want you to consider hitting that subscribe button here on Dolynny TV. Simply put, 43 subscribers away from 10,000. And I couldn't do without you, and obviously need still 43 people to hit that subscribe button here on the channel, and then we can hopefully celebrate that big old milestone sometime this weekend or on Monday. All right, let's get to it, friends. Jack Campbell. You know what? Here's the funny thing, right? Oh, hey, I was maybe waiting for this video is what you're going to say, because I was one very quick to judge Jack Campbell very early on in the season, because when he just didn't have it, he just did not have it. And obviously, too, Stuart Skinner was showing he had it. So let's go quickly recap Skinner's last 5 games. A 7-1 win last night against San Jose, a 6-2 win against Anaheim, a 6-3 loss against the LA Kings, in which he only plays realistically half the game, a 4-2 win against the New York Islanders, and a 5-2 loss against the Seattle Kraken, in which he played 23 minutes and only faced 3 shots. So you look at how this all kind of wraps up for Mr. Jack Campbell. In the past 5 games, he's 3-1. So obviously, right, I know the one thing Oilers fans care more than anything is wins in the win column. And yes, that's one thing he's done very well, winning 60% of his past games, but also only losing 20% of his past games, and make it of what you will with the LA Kings game and how that one transitioned. But for Jack Campbell, a total of 2 goals against in that LA Kings game. So realistically speaking, for Campbell over the past 5 games, he's allowed 1.69 goals against, which fantastic, right? That's amazing. And then you look at the save percentage too. It's now up rocking at a 926, following that 962 save percentage last night against the San Jose Sharks. So all told, that suddenly moves Jack Campbell from pretty much what I guess you could say is a bottom 10 goalie in the NHL, and now he is on the cusp of, if he starts tonight and has some success, of not even being a bottom 20 goalie in the NHL this season to this point. So that's fantastic for him. Obviously rocking an 11-8-1 record. He's allowed 66 goals against in 21 games played for a 346 goals against average and an 883 save percentage for Jack Campbell. So you're seeing all of a sudden that's climbing, right? I think at one point it was all the way down at 872. It's going to take a lot of serious work from Campbell to get it back to 900. But even last night, I think it was at 876 or 878, and you see what that 962 did for it and climbed it up even higher. Now, Jack Campbell faces 5 extra shots last night and maybe makes a couple more saves. Well, suddenly, yeah, that save percentage climbs even higher, maybe to 885. And suddenly, you know what? The Oilers don't need Jack Campbell to have a 982 or 918 or some fancy save percentage game in, game out to win games. You just need to be above that 890 mark, and I think the Oilers can quite honestly win a ton of games with Jack Campbell in net. That said, too, don't be giving up 5 goals a game, but if you're doing what he's doing the past couple 5 games or not, that is a pretty big recipe for success for our Edmonton Oilers. So that's where Jack Campbell suddenly putting the game together, really thriving in Edmonton suddenly, and this is fantastic to see, because remember last year he lost all of 9 games in regulation for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And this season, he's on pace now to probably lose about 16 in regulation, but suddenly on a personal 2-game winning streak, and of course having won all 3 of his past 3 starts, I guess you could say. He didn't start the LA Kings game, didn't start the Seattle game. He's been a guy that's come in and stabilized the goaltending after, well, Stuart Skinner's kind of faltered. And that's what you want, right? That's what you've wanted out of this Oilers tandem ever since the start of the season, is you want them to sit there and be able to stabilize each other, right? One goalie gets into a little bit of a funk, the other goalie comes in, plays hot. The other goalie gets into a funk, bang, same thing happens, and you just keep winning games after only losing one or so every few weeks, and that's kind of what the Oilers are now doing over their past 5 games. As mentioned, they're now pretty handily dealing with the situation in the Pacific Division, now solidly into a wild card spot, right, with 49 points, things starting to add up. We're 4 points up on the St. Louis Blues, 2 regulation wins up on the St. Louis Blues, and we are 3-1-1 in our last 5. And I mean, you want to talk about what'll happen here if the Oilers win tonight? It'll still remain a record of 3-1-1 in our past 5, but suddenly you're talking about getting ahead of the Calgary Flames if they lose to the Dallas Stars, and everything just starts kind of rolling in the Oilers' direction, right? You're up to 51 points on the season. You look at the Seattle Kraken, who play today against the Chicago Blackhawks. They lose. Suddenly the Oilers are 3 points back of third spot in the Pacific Division, and especially if you beat the LA Kings, or not the LA Kings, sorry, the Vegas Golden Knights, that ensures right now, if everything goes according to plan by the end of the night, you are 7 points out of first place in the Pacific Division. And I know, I think just to address people thinking that I've kind of been panicking on the channel, no, what I'm doing when I post a video that seems like panic is I'm trying to gauge your panic level, because you know, if you've watched Dolynny TV in the past, what panic looks like, and it does not look like the past few videos I've done here on the channel. So if you're wondering that, I guess just a housekeeping note on that one as well. But as it is right now for the Oilers, right, is panic aside, missing the playoffs all aside, is you win tonight against the Vegas Golden Knights and Jack Campbell has another good performance. 2 things happen. Jack Campbell looks that much better, and oh, by the way, now you are within striking distance of the Vegas Golden Knights for first place in the Pacific Division. And that would be reminiscent, I think, of the Oilers' kind of run there, the back half of the season in 1920, if I'm not mistaken. That's the season I'm thinking about anyway, where the Vegas Golden Knights, the Oilers, were duking it out for first place, and they just missed by that much. But for the Oilers, they'd like to try and get this going, that is for sure. And the Vegas Golden Knights would love to see what ends up happening here against the Oilers too, because it would be another chance for them to separate themselves from their Pacific Division rivals. So that's really where it stands. The Oilers, I think, still the most legitimate threat in the Pacific Division for first place outside of the Vegas Golden Knights. It's just a matter of get Evander Kane back, steady Eddie Jack Campbell, and Stuart Skinner comes back as Stu the dad. And, well, you know what? End of the day, you suddenly start seeing this team potentially taking multiple wins in a row, and tonight is that first step in that right direction. You can make it 3, and you can make it impactful winning against the Vegas Golden Knights, but it is all thanks, in large part, to the effort turned in the past 5 games by Jack Campbell. Friends, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've listened to the video and haven't had a chance yet, make sure on your way out to hit that subscribe button. And whatever you do today, enjoy, and we'll talk to you about game time tonight.